we're starting standing on our mat, at our mat. And we'll start with some of our roll downs. And remember, if you can't articulate or you should not articulate, you can always do some seated work where you're sliding your back down that wall, keeping a nice neutral spine, or working a hinge at the hip. If it's because of, osteoporosis or osteopenia in your spine, extension is always great. So you can always go the opposite direction and into extension for the back. So I'm going to reach the arms up nice and tall and long overhead, and the arms are going to come forward, bringing your chin to your chest, tucking the tailbone slightly just a little bit so you can zip and pull up through those abdominal muscles. And we're going to curl and roll down towards the floor, letting ourselves hang, trying to draw the shoulders away from the neck and the ears, because our arms are hanging there by our chest, from the chest line. They're not up above the shoulder, so we don't need to shrug or elevate the shoulders up by the neck and the ears. On your next exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone, pull the abdominals up and in. We'll curl up, we'll restack, reach up nice and tall, stretch up long for the ceiling. Feel that opening along the underarm through the rib cage as you lengthen nice and tall. I'm going to engage the glutes, fire through those quad muscles in your legs to stretch and lengthen further, and fold forward, folding at the mid-ribs to curl forward. Nice little tuck of the tailbone so you feel that stretch along the low back. And we're going to round, roll, and curl down towards the floor. When you're hanging towards the floor, you want to try to feel good even weight across the foot, from heel, ball of the foot, across the toes. So the leg is as vertical as possible, stacked right up over the ankle. And next exhale, curling back up, drawing the belly in tight, little tuck of the hips under, engaging the glutes, firing the legs, and we stretch up, reach up, lengthen long towards the ceiling, and then we'll fold and curl forward, piece by piece. Curling and rolling down all the way towards the floor. And exhale, restack. As if you're rolling your spine up and down off of the wall behind you. And then trying to stretch up the wall towards the ceiling, creating that traction and that space and that air between each of your vertebrae in the shoulder, in the hip as you lengthen up. And we'll fold forward, curling and rolling down to the mat piece by piece. You'll bring your hands now to the mat. If you need to bend the knees to place your hands flat, that's fine as well. And we're going to walk the hands forward, out to that center plank, trying to move without the hips swaying from side to side. And we're going to reach back into that triangle stretch, similar to downward dog. We slide the shoulders down, straighten the legs, press the heels for the floor. And keeping that nice strong back position, we're going to pivot at the shoulder, at the hip, to come forward to that center plank. Pushing up nice and strong away from the floor. And hips reach back up. Hips are high, heels stretch towards the floor. Slide the shoulders down the back to take the pressure off the hands and the wrists. And then slowly, trying not to sway, we're going to walk our hands back to our feet. Letting yourself hang, let the crown of the head drop for the floor. And we'll curl back up, restacking the spine, restacking the back, one piece at a time. Arms reach up long overhead. Stretch up. Stretching stretching up away from the ankle. Lengthen through the knee. Feel the stretch in the hip and up the spine and into the shoulder and the neck. And arms come down by your side. We're going to cross our right ankle over the left. It can be a tight stance, or if you need more space, you can step forward for that cross. And we're going to fold and curl forward to stretch the back of the leg and that back leg, that left leg at the back as well, through the hip and along the thigh. And curling up, pushing strong away from the floor. Find that balance. And we curl up and restack. We'll change our leg cross. Left leg's going to cross over right. And we'll fold and curl forward. Reaching towards the floor, squaring the feet off. Letting the head hang. And we'll curl up. And slow to restack. Uncrossing the legs, we're going to stand with feet right underneath our hips, our sit bones, about 4 or 5 inches apart for the spacing. And we're going to rise up off of our heels onto the ball of the foot. We're going to lift up, trying to get as tall and as long as we can, feeling the weight across the ball of the foot. Drop the shoulders, engage the abdominals. See how tall you can make yourself. Feel free to find a wall or a chair for support. And then slow descent of the heels back down to the mat, nice and slow. Find that control. And we're going to rise again, up off of the heels, onto the ball of the foot. Try to get as tall and as long as you can, extending that spine, creating that long line through your back. The best posture that you can create in this position. Chest is open, shoulders are rolling back and down. You feel your rib cage pull in, your belly to your back, and then we slowly descend back to the floor. If your mat's fairly thick, you could be on a hardwood floor. Flatter, harder surfaces are always easier. If you need more challenge, grab a pillow or a wobble cushion or a wobble board if you have one, or a Bosu ball, something like that to give you some feedback so you have to stabilize more. We rise up, and then we're stretching up away from the floor, trying to lengthen nice and long, nice little tuck of the tailbone. Rolling those shoulders back and down as we pull the rib cage in and our belly to our back. And then slowly controlling that descent. That was not controlled. A little bit slower on that way back down. So we'll try one more, curling and rolling up. Best laid plans, right? So, stretching nice and tall, trying to find your focal point straight ahead versus the floor. And we stand nice and tall, stretch, stretch up, and then slow as you lower. Fight gravity, fight for that balance, and then slowly drop the heels back to the mat. Good. We're going to work on single leg balance a little bit as well. So we're going to grab either your right shin, or you can pull the foot back, especially if you're trying to work on opening the front of the hip or stretching that thigh, to bring that right leg back. So from the side, I want to stand as tall as I possibly can, and you're creating that alignment. So you're either going to hold at the knee and at the shin, stretching up, or you can hold with the foot and the leg back behind you. And we're going to try to stretch and lengthen. Little tuck of the hips, we don't overextend the back, especially if your foot and your lower leg is back behind you. And we're going to lengthen away from the floor. Stretch long. Get as tall as you can. stability in the foot, grounding into the heel. Feel the ball of the foot and the toes spread wide across the floor. And then we'll slowly lower that foot. Little bend in the knees. And we're going to change sides. So standing nice and strong on that right leg. Again, that left leg is going to come either forward or pull the leg back. Trying to stand as tall and as long as you can. Creating length. Shoulders are dropped as the ribs come in. Just because the shoulders drop does not mean that we collapse the torso. We don't crunch and condense. We can extend and lengthen and still move those shoulders in and around that long spine. Standing taller, stretching longer. See how much length you can create. And we'll release that left foot nice and slow back to the floor. Feet are going to come just shy of mat width with a little bit of a turnout of the leg of the foot. And we're going to reach our arms forward, sit back as the knees bend out towards the foot. And we're going to sit, holding that nice squat position. Keeping the chest up and proud. Holding nice and strong here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Standing up nice and tall. We're going to hinge forward or roll forward, and we're going to grab the front of the legs, and we're going to drop down into that squat position with a bowed torso. So we're hinged forward at the hip. I'm holding down by my ankles, by my feet, and we're going to work our squat stance, our stretches. I want to keep the back as flat as possible, and then straighten and lengthen the legs without rounding. So as you notice, I can't get the knees fully straight, because if I do, I round my back, and I lose a bit of my stretch. I want to keep that flat back. So we'll drop back down into that squat position, knees are out, and then hips lift, flat back, proud chest, and then drop. And extend, trying to find that nice flat back position. Dropping down one more time, and straighten. Trying to straighten the legs, keep the back flat. 3, 2, 1, and then we'll straighten the legs, round the back, stretch the spine. And hands are going to come to the mat, and we're going to walk forward, trying not to sway the body as we walk the hands slowly out. And we'll reach the hips back, press the heels down, slide the shoulders away from the neck and the ears. Feel the chest open and expand as the shoulders slide down the back, straightening the legs more. Reaching the tailbone up towards the ceiling a bit, feeling that a little bit of extension in the low back. And then we're going to hinge at the hip, at the shoulder, coming forward out to that center plank. Holding nice and strong, straight long legs. Nice proud chest, long spine for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hips reach back. We hinge at the hip, sliding the shoulders down, straightening the legs, press over to the other side. Try to keep the arms straight, the shoulders down the back. As we alternate those single leg calf stretches, feeling that stretch travel up the back of the leg into the hamstring. One more each side. Both legs will straighten, we'll reset the back, and then slowly walk the hands back towards the feet. Let the head hang round the spine. And slowly curl back up. And we'll restack the back nice and slow. Reaching up long for the ceiling, fingers interlace, palms up. And we stretch up and back. Tension in your abdominals as well as in your legs and your glutes to support the low back. And we'll restack nice and tall, nice and long. Fingers will interlace, index fingers point for the ceiling, and we're going to hinge from side to side, reaching up as you pull the rib cage in, and we move over to the right and center. Extend up and over to the left. Reaching and lengthening. Keeping the legs still, the hips in line, so the hips won't shift out to the side. One more each side. And arms will rest back down by the side. I'm going to go back through our single leg balance one more time, just because of the importance of finding and maintaining balance and keeping our balance year after year. So standing up nice and tall, we'll start with posting on that left leg. And you could change it up. Maybe you did leg in front the first time. You could try leg behind you for the second. We're going to bring that right leg up. Maybe you're going to bring your knee up. And we're going to stand really tall. So if you had your leg in front, try it behind for this set. If it was behind for the first set, bring the leg forward. And we stand tall, stretching out nice and long. Straightening and lengthening the body as much as you can. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to place that right foot down. Reset. And then when you're ready, you'll bring your left leg either to the front or to the back. Bringing that left leg up or back, and then we straighten and lengthen. Pushing up strong away from the floor. Feel the weight of the foot connect to your mat or to the floor. Straighten up out of the ankle, stretch the knee straight, lengthen out of the hip. Feel your back stretch for the ceiling, the crown of the head get pulled up. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing that leg down. Let's come to our mats to lay down on our back. With knees bent and feet flat, we'll curl back, lay back to the mat, keeping that little gap at the small of the spine. We're going to drop the rib cage down and in, bringing our right leg up to tabletop position. We're going to hinge at the hip so the foot can tap the mat. Finding that nice glide of the leg in the hip. Nice and smooth movement. Your hands can be on your hips to feel any shifts that could creep in as the leg is moving, or arms long down by your side, whichever you prefer. And then we'll bring that right leg up to tabletop. Flex at the ankle. We're going to kick up towards the ceiling to straighten the leg, and then bend the knee, bringing the leg back to tabletop. Extending and lengthening that leg up. Trying not to feel the low back touch the mat as the leg straightens, because we don't want the hip to tip back. And we pause at tabletop, and we reach that right leg forward, out across the mat, out to that nice 45-degree angle as it extends and straightens away from the hip. Firing the whole leg as it straightens, pushing it far away. And we'll pause at tabletop, drop the foot down towards the hip, and we're going to slide the leg out across the mat, hovering just about an inch above the floor, and then we'll bend the knee, bring the heel back towards the hip, and we reach out and lengthen. One more. And we'll bend that right knee, place the foot to the mat. Left leg to tabletop, we're back to the beginning of this progression. We're going to hinge at the hip. Single leg lifts. Nice and smooth glide of the leg in the hip as you bring the shoulders down the back and you knit the ribs in. And the leg pauses up at tabletop, we'll flex at the ankle, and we're going to kick straight up towards the ceiling. You may not get full extension of the knee, similar to when we were doing our squat stands. We're trying to fire the quad, allow the hamstring to release as that quad at the front of the thigh fires. One more. And we'll pause at tabletop. We're gliding forward now. Straight out across the mat, moving the leg out to about a 45-degree angle from the hip. Feeling even weight across the pelvis, across the back of the hips on the mat, so you're not twisted to the side. And full extension of the knee, reaching the leg long from the hip. And we'll bring the leg back to tabletop, drop the heel down towards the hip, and we'll work those extensions out across the mat, gliding and hovering just out about an inch or so above the floor. We bend the knee, bring the heel back towards the hip, working that nice deep flexion of the knee as we bring the heel to the hip. And full extension, full lengthening of the leg as you press it out, straight and long. One more. And we'll rest the foot back to the mat. Taking a moment to reset the feet and the legs in line with your sit bones. We'll reach our arms long. We're going to work our pelvic curl. If you're not articulating, you'll work a regular shoulder bridge. And on the exhale, we're going to tilt the hips back, feel that imprint, and begin to scoop and lift, bridging and lifting the hips up, feeling that stretch across the front of the hip and along the thigh. And then curling back down, stretching the spine across the mat as you roll down to the floor, piece by piece, all the way through to the tailbone. And we tilt. We're trying to keep the arms nice and long, the shoulders reaching down the back. Nice and slow, we curl along the back, piece by piece. Finding that fold at the mid-ribs so we can lift the hips without taking that extension up into the back. Last bridge. We bring our legs up to tabletop. Fold at the mid-ribs to lift the head, neck, and chest. Hands resting at the knees. We move into our single leg stretch. We change leg to leg. Hands transfer to the tabletop knee. Moving the leg out straight and long, keeping that deep fold at the mid-ribs. You can always modify to support the head and the neck by bringing your hands behind your head or staying flat on the mat. We'll pull the knee in deeper to the chest as the leg reaches out. And switch. So we'll create a bit more flexion at the hip and at the knee. One leg extends out as the knee comes in towards you. Keep sliding the shoulders down, reach out farther with the leg. One more each side. And we'll hug the knees to the chest, lay the head back to the mat, stretch the back of the neck long. We press the shoulders down. We're going to look out over that right shoulder, bringing the ear down towards the mat, trying not to lift the shoulders up. We press them down for that deeper stretch. And then head and neck rotates and we look out to the left. And back to the right. One more to that left side. And returning to center. Legs come back out to tabletop, that nice 90-degree bend at the hip and at the knee. And we'll lift the chest once again, bringing the head up. Hands are resting on the knees. We're going to work our double leg stretch. So on the inhale, arms and legs are going to go first straight up to the ceiling. Working this easier, modified position to reach up and back. And now we'll try to move out. Forward with the legs, overhead with the arms. On the inhale, we reach away and back. Last two. And once again, we'll hug the knees in. We'll reach for the feet, draw the knees apart. Stretch the back of the neck across your mat. Slight tuck of the chin, and then we'll rock a little bit from hip to hip. We'll bring our feet and our legs together, coming down to the mat. We're going to interlace our fingers, bring our hands back behind the head to support the head and the neck. And we'll fold the mid-ribs to lift the chest. Legs are going to drop over to the right, and we're going to twist the chest through the rib cage to the left. My left foot lifts, my left hip lifts, but not the shoulder. And we twist back to center. Legs shift to the left as the upper body twists to the right. And center. Moving from side to side, creating that rotation right across the mid-ribs. One more each side. And we'll pause at center. Drop the shoulders, the head to the mat. We're going to fold the elbows in over the face, as if elbows are touching over your forehead. And then arms open out. Elbows flare, the chest opens. Draw the rib cage down. And then we fold in again. Elbows fold forward around the face, rounding and stretching across the mid and upper back. And elbows open out. One more. Deep fold in, wrapping the arms around the face. And elbows open, arms open out. Feel the chest open and stretch. 3, 2, 1. We'll reset the shoulders and the arms, supporting the head and the neck. And we'll fold deep at the mid-ribs to lift the chest, slide the shoulders down, and we'll bring our legs to tabletop. Right leg extends, chest twist to the left and center. We're going to alternate from side to side for our crisscross. One more each side, smooth rotations through the mid-ribs, keeping your hips weighted. And we'll come back to center, tuck the knees in. And we'll roll over and flip over face down. Legs are reaching reaching out nice and strong across the mat. We're going to glide the arms down along the body, stretch across the neck and the top of the shoulder, floating your face above the floor. We inhale to lift the chest, the head farther up off of your mat, and then slow on the exhale as you lower. Legs need to be active and engaged. Glutes are firing. You're pulling your abs to your back. Back extensors are firing. We need everything in the torso and in the legs engaged. So we take the pressure off the low back. We're creating that extension through the mid-back as we lift the chest. Three, 2, and 1. Hands come forward. We're going to rest our forehead to the back of our hands as we slide the shoulders down. And our legs are going to lengthen. We're going to go for a double leg lift for that hip extension. On the inhale, legs lift and lower. Reaching the legs not just up, but stretching them out of the hip as they lift. Try to keep the tension out of the neck as you slide the shoulders down. Last 2. And legs are nice and long. Arms reach out to a T position, stretching out far away from the chest. And we inhale to lift the upper body. And slow to lower. Keep the back of the neck long. Float the face off the floor as you lower. Squeezing our shoulder blades together, gliding the shoulders down away from the neck. We want to maintain that engagement across the mid-back at the base of the shoulder blades. One more. And hands come by the chest, toes curl under. We're going to peel up and sit back into that rest position. My knees are a little on the wide side so I can drop my rib cage and my chest down between the knees. One more breath. And we're going to curl up and restack. Let's finish standing. We're going to work on a postural reset. It's to help find the body in space. It's a proprioceptive reset for the brain to find that nice position. So I'm going to start standing, feet are right underneath the hips. I'm going to make a fist with my hands. I'm going to do some movement so that way you can see all sides. But I'm going to start facing you, making a fist. My thumbs are pointed inward. I want to really push those shoulders down as hard as I can and then pull them back to really open the chest. And then I'm going to twist the arm so my thumbs now point outward, palms are facing forward, and then I'm going to reach my arms behind me as if I'm trying to get my thumbs to touch behind my back. And I'm stretching long, and we're going to hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then we slowly reset. So we'll do this 2 more times. Standing nice and tall, we make a fist, thumbs are turned in, we drop the shoulders down, open the chest, like you're going to pop your shoulders off the wall behind you. Arms twist to externally rotate, thumbs out, and we reach the arms, the thumbs back. Tailbone tucks, stretch longer, take the shrug out of it, holding for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slow to reset. Last one. Making that fist, thumbs are turned in, arms are straight. We push the shoulders down. Open the chest like you're pushing off the wall behind you. Arms twist, thumbs out, and then we reach back. Thumbs are reaching back behind us, arms are reaching back. We're stretching up nice and long. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, guys, awesome work today. Thank you so much.